Lights, please.
Lights.
Lights. Okay. Predictably, the results on this quiz were very bad. And you need to decide if you want to improve or if you want to do whatever it is that you're doing. Nice pen. So, what we're going to do now is go over this quiz. Now, I say it's predictable only because I've been teaching this stuff for a while now, and kids always struggle with this particular lesson and this particular quiz. But usually, by the time we hit the third quiz, kids are getting at least an 80. Usually 100, well, often 100. I don't want to say usually. About half 80s, half 100. So, let's go through this particular quiz. Let's make marks on what we did right, what we did wrong. Let's pay attention so that we don't repeat the same mistakes tomorrow. I strongly recommend, if you had any issues on this quiz, that you look it over tonight, right? Maybe watch the video a little bit so that when you come in tomorrow, you don't make any repeated mistakes. Now, the first thing is that we have to put a scale on the graph. There's really two ways to do this. And for today's purposes, we're going to show you both, but right now I'm only going to show you one of them. What you have to do is look at the numbers being presented in the problem. And it talks about, I think, 10 minutes, what was it, 180 or something?
What?
At 10 minutes, how many degrees was it?
180. 180.
All right, and what was the other one? 15, 230?
No, 5 minutes. 130.
5, 130. Okay, good. So in reading the problem, I have numbers in like 130, 180, and we know the temperature is going up. But those numbers are not too big when you consider looking at the vertical axis here, and you say, man, that's a pretty tall vertical axis. So as I looked at that, I said, you know what, I think I should be able to go up by tens. So I went up by tens. Now that's not the only solution. But the thing that's nice about going up by tens when you can do it is that when you draw all the way to the axis, you're normally going to end up on a perfect point. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and so on and so forth, and I keep going right on up the whole graph. And then as far as minutes go, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I can go up by ones with minutes. Now I could, and some people did this, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's fine. But I like to leave a little space so that it's not as cluttered. So I do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. Now the other things that have to be here, the word time has to be somewhere on the bottom. And you can barely see it here because of the way it's scanned. But the word temperature is here. So the first thing I want you to look at on your quiz is, did you include time and temperature? If you did not, I probably put a little circle down at the bottom and a little circle up on the side. And the next thing that you got to ask yourself is, did you use an appropriate scale? Now, you did not have to go up by tens, but tens would be a really good scale. The other thing is, some people wrote 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You can do that, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think if you look at your paper, you'll see it look a little cluttered. So I did it still by tens, but I only labeled every 50 of them. Davis, did you have a question?
Yeah, you circled something here, but I had written degrees.
It's probably something different. Oh, some people put an arrow on the end here.
Yeah.
You can't put an arrow.
Why?
Because if you keep going past here, the time is negative. When do you have negative time?
Always.
I wish, boy do I wish we could go back in time and change some of the things we've done. Anybody hear that?
Yeah.
Can I get a witness on that one?
Oh, me.
Right? Yeah, me too. So, oh, there's plenty of what happens. So what I would recommend to everybody is that you do not put arrows on the ends of this graph. No, it's not. Okay, so what do we get to next? Well, we're told at 5 minutes it's 130 degrees. So I have to go to my graph and I make a mark or a point at 5, 130. And most people that I see did this. Then, put that away. Then there was 10, 180. So we go to 10, 180 and we make a mark. And here's where I started to see a problem on a lot of people's graphs. Some people thought that this was the time to be an impressionistic painter. They thought they were Monet, perhaps Van Gogh. and they just went like, la-di-da, and let's bend the line because I'm in the mood for a bent line. No! Look, judge how I go from here to here. It's a constant slope. It's up 5 over, oh, this should be over one more. Should be 10 right here. I don't know why that's off, right? 10, 180? Wait, here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, this is 180 here. It should go right like this. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. So, you have to make that exact point. And then you got to ask yourself, what is the slope? Because it's a constant slope here. It's up 5 over 5. Do it again. Up 5 over 5. And then up 5 over 5 is the same thing as up 1 over 1. Puts me on the same thing. So I can do more of that up here. And then to go backwards to here, I just keep putting those points and then I connect them all. That's extremely important. Super important. Because what I noticed some people do on their graphs is they like either only graph the section that went from here to here, or they graphed it from like here to here and then they stop. But you want to put the graph all the way till you find the y-intercept. So you see where it touches the y-axis. Okay. Now, based on that graph, we have two things we need to answer. The first one is, in order to cook his chicken, it has to be 330 degrees. I'll do that one second. Part C, at what temperature did the oven begin heating? It begins heating when the time is 0. This is where the time is 0. That would be 60, 70, 80 degrees. So the last question's very simple. When it says where did it, and listen to this word here for a second, begin, what do we use when we use, don't we, for the y-intercept, use the letter B for what? Begin. So what I'm looking for here is that point where it touches the y-axis, and that's it, it's right there. That is the value 80. So 80 has to appear, are we ready to learn? 80 has to appear as the answer to that last part there. Now the one before it is very difficult, and this is, I can tell you right now, part B will normally, Michael, be the difference between the kids who get 80 and the kids who get 100. The kids who get 100 will be able to get part B right. The kids who get 80 are not going to see how to get part B right. Now, sometimes part B can be answered by looking at the graph, but this time it can't be. See, it wants 330 degrees, and 330 degrees is like out here somewhere on the graph. So it's not exactly contained on that particular axis. So we have to come up with an alternative way to find it. And to do that, I could create the formula using y equals mx plus b. So if I go with y equals mx plus b, first I have to, Mandy, let's pay a little bit of attention.
Okay.
First I have to determine what the y-intercept is. We did that before, it's 80. So I put my plus 80 here. Then I have to determine the slope. Candace did a good job. You wrote down y equals 1x, but it's not really 1. Because every time you go up 1, how much did you really go up? 10. So it's not 1x, it's 10x. So it's y equals 10x plus 80, and when I want to be 330 degrees, I put a 330 in there for the value of the temperature, y, equals 10x plus 80, and then I just solve. I minus 80, I get 250, I divide by 10, x is equal to 25. So that, by far, is the hardest part of the quiz. Okay? Now, if you walk in fresh tomorrow, and you don't look at this quiz between now and tomorrow, kids in this class, some kids in the class will absolutely put an arrow on the end of their line, the part where it crosses the y-axis. Some kids will forget how to find the y-intercept for time equaling 0, or where you begin. Some kids will forget to label the graph. But everybody will probably improve some. You just won't improve all. But if you take the time, God bless, to study a little bit tonight, you will improve more, and you have a much better chance of getting to the fall. Okay, now I'd like you to get out your homework from last night. just want to go through some things very quickly. First, answers to 3 equations. Lenny? You're going to have to wait just a minute. Let me get through this. First, the answers to the 3 equations. The big thing I want you to notice here, the first 2 had ugly answers. Nothing guarantees that the answers to equations are pretty. So if you're doing the equation and you come up with an answer that's not good, or it doesn't come out to a whole number, look it over again, see if you can find any mistakes. And if you can't find any mistakes, you may well have done it correctly. Only 1 out of the 3 worked out perfectly. Next piece of homework. A little bit of review here. Take a look at that. Okay, Lenny, that's your second.
I have 4. I have 1 left, right?
Yep. Okay. A little bit of review work here. Drafting equation of line work. The big thing you have to remember, and we haven't done too many of these the last few days, you've got to make it over here, next to number 7, you have to make it say y equals. So I needed to manipulate that particular formula by first subtracting the x and then dividing by 5. Alex, are you going to choose to pay attention, or are you going to choose to talk to Joe? All right, because if you choose that, your grades are going to get better and you're going to improve. But if you choose to talk to Joe, they're not. All right, let's see here. I didn't do that one, but I think I did one underneath it. Yep, here we go. Same thing as we have here. You had to remember to divide by 2 on number 14. So at first you might look at number 14 and say, oh look, the y-intercept's -8. But when you divide by 2, what's -8 divided by 2?
4.
More specifically, -8 divided by 2? -4. So he says he has a y-intercept of 4. Oh, I should have written no, it's not true. The y-intercept is actually -4, not +4. Okay, and scan 5. Here is another one of these graphs from yesterday. So let me put the size down a little bit. This time it's a money in the bank kind of question. And let's take a look. Again, the scan got cut off a little bit, and I was a little bit quick on it. But I want to show you a couple of things here. First off, this should be money over here, and across the bottom is time. But I did something a little different on this graph that you are allowed to do, and I want everybody to pay attention to this. Ready? Super paying attention, because this, you might really like to do this. Do you see how I put this squiggle here down at the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
All right? That's called a break.
Oh.
And it means I'm going to jump a whole bunch of numbers. See, there's no numbers in this problem anywhere near 0. Or at least no dollar values. There's no dollar values near 50 or 80. So I put a break in there, and I jumped all the way up to 200. And then I started going up by 20s. 220, 240, 260, 280, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, and so on and so forth. Because the numbers in this problem were bigger. So by putting in that break there, I saved myself a whole lot of space on the graph. So you are allowed to put breaks in. You just have to draw the break and then make sure you start labeling the numbers after it. Yes?
What if you draw the break like on the 0?
Above the 0, because you're jumping numbers above 0. Okay, the 2 points are 3, 420, 5, 500. So here is 3, 420, 5, 400. I draw the line connecting it. Notice I do not put an arrow on the left end of this line because I cannot go into negative weeks. And how much money did he begin his savings process? That would be 300. And how much does he save each and every single week? Let's see, he goes up $10 a week. All right, so now to today's work, real word problems 3. And I don't have a whole lot of time to do it, so let's skip right away to this. Let's have you guys try to work very quickly on Louis' landscaping, okay? And do that graph. If you feel you need help next to somebody and you can concentrate on what it is you're doing, feel free to ask for help. You can giggle, go ahead. You're just not gonna learn a blessed thing, but you can giggle. Another 30 seconds or so to draw that picture. Hey, put that away. Notice I used a break, kept the numbers nice and easy. I was going up by 20. Yeah,
I feel like I'm going to the top. Just like
you can.
very-
You can. All right, so there's two questions at the bottom, and I think the last of the two questions at the bottom were, how much money did he begin with? Right, is that what it says? Okay, I can't fit it on the screen, so I need your help here. How much money does he begin with? That's where does the graph hit with its y-intercept? How much is that? It's not 400.
380.
380, it's one step below 400. And what does the part above it say? Oh, how much does he save each week? Okay,
Yeah.
well, there's a couple different ways to do it here.
Bless you.
God bless, I'm going up one box, over one, so each box is worth 20. So that's one way, or I could do the slope formula. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta, arrivederci. Smile a lot, ciao, rimasen, adios amigos y amigas. Cheerio, Shoes, the doctors.
I forgot.